Legends, welcome along to a new video. I'm off work this week, so we're going to get as much done as we can next week as well, so it's all good. I'm always talking about indie film and that sort of thing. It's a hobby for me at this point because it's incredibly difficult to do this sort of thing and actually make a living from it. Now, even if you go self-employed as a video creator, cameraman, director, whatever you're talking about, in that space, even if you're self-employed, at the end of the day, you're always going to be working for someone else's project. You're putting something together that's not yours, essentially. You're trying to build a bit of steam to get your own stuff going. So it depends where you want to start from. And yes, there is lies that have been told to a lot of people from day one and this sort of thing. And I'm going to show you something that I have been a little secret I've been sitting on. Not so much a secret, but something that a lot of people aren't willing to admit to. In this video, and if you're listening to the podcast, I would suggest you go and check this out on the YouTube channel, because I'm going to use a little visual here to help make this point. There is a lot of nonsense that places like college and university tell people when they come out into the real world, and they've got their qualifications and whatnot. They don't want to admit that some of the stuff that isn't really necessary to get you out there, keep you going, build your own momentum, to create your own stuff, is really essential. You come out of that environment and you're very full of crap. Let's just put it politely. I'm not going to beat around the bush with this here. I'm just going to be as honest as I can with it. And what I use is, I keep in my phone all the time with these 4 bits of paper here, and people will waste, after everything that they've learned in university or college, whatever you want to call it, they'll waste so much time not doing stuff that they really should be doing, because their teachers, tutors, whatever, have told them that making YouTube videos is a complete waste of time. Sitting down and recording the podcast is a complete waste of time. Social media is a complete waste of time. Here's something I have learned along the way, and I have seen so many people wasting so many years sitting on their ass writing short movies and those bigger types of projects, and they just let everything else fall to the wayside. And then whenever the crunch comes, they get their short film into production, they get it made, they go to put it out there. Where are they going to put it at? The majority of people will put them onto YouTube. So of course, I'm thinking to myself at this stage, well, if you're thinking YouTube is such a waste of time, why are you using it to promote this short film that you've spent, in my case, conclusions, 7 years of my life I spent trying to get that off the ground, put out there. And when it did go online, the result wasn't the result that I would have expected, or most people would have expected from a short film that you put that much time into. So people waste months, years on stuff that, whenever it comes to the crunch and goes online, is essentially content. So I use this. Let me just show you. So in my wallet I keep these 4 pieces of paper as an example whenever I get into this conversation. Very rarely happens, but it does from time to time. So this first piece of paper has got indie film on it. This second one has got YouTube video on it. Alright, so we'll just set them beside other. Audio podcast is the next one. And social media. So you take indie films, quite self-explanatory. This is the one that people will waste years trying to get started and forget about all these other ones because they're taught that these are a complete waste of time. Now, YouTube video, you could include Facebook video, Instagram video, all that sort of stuff. Audio podcasts, of course. Social media, everything from the written post to a live video, to whatever. If it's on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, you name it, all underneath this here. Now, here is the big reality check at the end of the day for all this here sort of stuff. The tutors and the educational system will tell you this one is the one you have to concentrate on and forget about all this other stuff, because this here is all waste of time. You need to be concentrating on this. The problem with that is, again, you're wasting years on that sort of stuff. So here is the little secret that you need to remember. Social media, at the end of the day, content. Audio podcast, at the end of the day, content. YouTube videos, whatever types of videos, at the end of the day, again, content. And indie film, the most important one that you need to be forgetting everything else for, at the end of the day, whenever you finally get it online, is nothing more than content. So there you go. That is the little sort of secret that I have been basing a lot of stuff on for a good few years now. Unfortunately for those guys, they're forgetting that we're in a day and age now where literally if you're not posting really regular on every platform, you're basically invisible. The algorithm is constantly fighting against you. I was just doing a few tests myself this week with a few Facebook ads on the platform, and literally stuff that worked this time last year doesn't work this year. It's just, it is what it is. It is, we're living in, let's just say, the world of the Terminator right now. The machines are fighting against us. The algorithms, social media, all that sort of stuff is constantly trying to find a way of not putting you down to the bottom of the search engine, but making you realise that you actually need to be putting the work on to get seen on any search engine in the world. So I have, in all fairness, I've battered the educational system when it comes to indie film for a long time now. It's not that long ago on the channel here I actually burned my TV and film certificate because it was just, it's not something that is going to pay out for me in the sort of stuff that I want to do, the sort of content I want to make, the sort of self-employment that I want to put into place right now. I'm not beyond working for someone else on a project, but at the end of the day, I want to be able to get up in the morning and create my own content, build something on social, on YouTube, LinkedIn, SoundCloud, iTunes, you name it, across all those platforms, and use that sort of stuff to in turn work on getting the indie film stuff created, because again, at the end of the day, it's simply content. So keep that in mind, guys. That is a little trick for you moving forward. I know quite a few people at the moment that are interested in getting into that sort of thing, and I've seen it countless times in the past. People that have started out on Facebook video or YouTube, you name it, they get into the indie film thing, they fall into that trap of the educational system telling you that you have to turn your back on everything else and simply concentrate on this one thing because it's the only thing that's going to get you to where you want to go. The downside to that is the time that you're going to have to put into getting something off the ground is literally enough to reset you on every other platform online right now. The reality of the matter is, if you take 3 weeks to a month off YouTube, if you're creating a content channel like this here, and you're seeing some steady growth for a while, you decide to take a break and step back, it's simply 3 weeks to a month right now is long enough for you to actually reset your YouTube channel, because it's not even subscribing to a channel now doesn't guarantee that you're going to constantly see content from that channel. You could be subscribed to 50 channels but you may only watch 1 or 2 of those 50 channels. And when you go into your suggested videos now, all you're going to see is those 1 or 2 channels, really, and then some suggestions. You'll maybe not even see anything from the rest of your subscription list. So it just goes to show you that it is the putting of content out, keeping people interested in what you're doing. That's the only way to keep yourself visible to the people that are subscribed to you. So if your own subscribers are having trouble finding you these days, how the heck are you going to find anybody new? So yes, swift little episode for tonight. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope that helped you. If you're in that sort of place and you're interested in getting into this here, by all means do it. That's a lot of fun. I've made a few short film projects up to this point, and yes, it's definitely worthwhile getting into it, but do not sacrifice everything else in favour of that, because it's probably the worst thing. No, probably about it. It's the worst mistake you can make if you want to get into creating your own short film. You need to look at it that you're as much passion I put into conclusions, as much as I like that little movie. The fact of the matter is, it's no more important when it goes online than your average little good morning Facebook post. So keep that in mind, guys. You need to juggle them, all those balls, and find that balance to make things work. And you know, I don't want to really knock out the educational system when it comes to this here, but it's not as important as it used to be. You can literally learn everything filmmaking related online right now, again using YouTube and a Google search. Anything you want to learn, you'll find it there for free. And again, the lies they're going to tell you whenever you go for that degree, that university qualification in TV and film, that's literally only good enough to get you a job working for someone else. So if you want to be the person that's actually trying to put together a company that's going to create its own content, you know, what are you going to do? Sit down on one side of the desk and ask yourself, are you qualified for this? Get up and walk to the other side of the desk, sit down, set out your little piece of paper, and get up again, go around to the other side, interview yourself essentially. It doesn't work that way. You know, people think just because they don't have that piece of paper means that they can't do something. It's all lies, it's all nonsense, it's all online. You can learn anything for free when it comes to this. And yes, don't let anyone tell you any different, because those are the people that in the long run experience speaking here. Anybody in the field that's put me down and told me I couldn't do something are now not creating content to the part that to the degree what they were. When I say content, I mean indie film. It's all content at the end of the day. I'll talk to you in the next one, guys.